What's up? I have to say that the fallout from the Conor McGregor visit to the White House on St. Patrick's Day has been absolutely phenomenal to witness. Conor McGregor understands timing, he understands how to throw a jab, as he has quite clearly said in his interview. And what he is, I am sure, witnessing right now is a flabby soy boy retaliation from the apparatus that he completely expected. So he is going to go to work on these people, and that is a fantastic thing to see. Before we jump into the video and discuss everything that's going on with regards to this, I just want to point out something. Micheál Martin was talking about Conor McGregor and saying he shouldn't be there, he shouldn't be doing this, he shouldn't be doing that, he doesn't represent Ireland and all of this sort of stuff. Well, if you were to take Micheál Martin at face value there, and without the internet, which people would have done beforehand, they would have said, oh, okay. But what has emerged since then is Micheál Martin in Sheriff Street running away from Councillor Gavin Pepper, who was asking him a question. He wouldn't stand and speak to Councillor Gavin Pepper at all. Now, Councillor Gavin Pepper has been on this channel before. I've done a live stream with him, and he has been very upfront about, and it's something I've talked about over the years, about people around people that go and speak to these politicians and they have nothing to say. Philip Dwyer is another one that has done Trojan work over the years, and when he has encountered long-standing politicians and he asks them hard questions, they all run. The same thing with Councillor Gavin Pepper. They're all running. And the same point is made by the three of us, which is these guys are in politics for a very long time. They should be able to speak to and be able to persuade and be able to, I would even say, argue against Councillor Gavin Pepper, Philip Dwyer, myself, whoever else it may be. But it seems to me that all of these politicians have been told to do the same thing. Don't engage with the public and run as fast away as you can. We also saw Simon Harris running away from the Burke family. Big shout out to the Burke family for going over to Washington DC. Fair play to you for going over there and saying what needed to be said. I was hoping that we were going to see like an Micheál Martin sitting in the Oval Office with Donald Trump. Next of all, doors fling open, Stone Cold Steve Austin music on, the Burks walk through, Elon Musk in tow, and it would have been absolute carnage. It would have been great to see. I think Micheál Martin would have popped his clogs on the spot, you know? Because clearly he can't speak to Gavin Pepper, so he definitely wouldn't speak to the Burks. I think that would have been a fascinating thing to witness. That was just me, and that was what I was hoping for. But anyway, getting back to this, because this is what we have to focus on here. What I believe Ireland is being run by is a transnational criminal organisation. I firmly believe that that's a genuinely held belief. Because what you have here, as I said, and as I've laid out at the start here, are a number of politicians that don't want to speak to the public, that when they do speak to the public, they've got nothing to say. And it seems like that they have been given a script and been given things to say and to wheel out in front of the doll and on front of cameras there, the likes of RTE, Virgin Media, whoever it might be. But when you actually get them in a general scenario, nothing to say, don't know what to do, which I think is quite interesting. I also want to point out that what Conor McGregor said, as I posted the video the other day, and the video has gone viral, there's many millions of people that have seen that video in terms of that video itself, but my video obviously is a lot smaller in terms of views because this is a smaller channel. But I'm delighted to see that video do the rounds the way it did on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever else it might be, through WhatsApp. Brilliant to see that. But what ended up happening was the regime played their hand, and the hand was, pardon the pun, but it was something that they, in my view, have been long wanting to use. And when you look at, for example, the way that they decided to attack Conor McGregor with ad hominem attacks, I think that makes perfect sense. Now, I have my suspicions with regards to the case, to be quite honest with you. That's a genuinely held belief. Another genuinely held belief is that juries get things wrong, and courts get things wrong, and judges get things wrong. Don't believe me? Have a look at some of the people that Judge Martin Nolan's let off. So, if you don't think you agree with me on that, have a look at Judge Martin Nolan and see the types of people that he's let off there. So, people can get things wrong, is what I would say. So, it's quite a curious thing as we will go through this video, that a number of people that have decided to step out of line and have decided to face off against this transnational criminal organisation, these bureaucrats, have all been tarred with the same brush. It seems like the same name is being attributed to these guys constantly. That's an interesting thing, isn't it? So, Tweedcap here puts out this. He's cobbled a number of articles together because after Conor McGregor was at the White House, there was a number of articles that emerged very quickly. I thought it was quite funny to see Taoiseach Simon Harris standing on the side of a street and be asked his thoughts on Conor McGregor being at the White House. Like, think about that for a second. Conor McGregor was at the White House and in the White House on St. Patrick's Day. Micheál Martin wasn't there on St. Patrick's Day, nor was Simon Harris, nor was anybody else in the political sphere. That says an awful lot, doesn't it? I've also got a suspicion that Micheál Martin may have known that Conor McGregor was going, and that's why he went days earlier. Because why else would you go days earlier and not go there on the day? Very weird, that, isn't it? Very strange. But anyway, this makes for a fascinating viewing, and I think it's going to be... We're witnessing a massive battle here. You know? We're witnessing a battle between good and evil and for the future and soul of this country, as far as I'm concerned. So Tweedcap says, they're really over-egging it this evening. This comes from March 18th. But isn't it interesting that they all stop short of calling them far right? They've parked their favourite slur for some reason. Now, I don't know what they're parking it for. They are probably going to lead it into later on down the road saying this is the leader of the far right, this is the face of the far right, all this type of nonsense. Don't be worrying about labels and names around that. That's all these people have, sticks and stones. Meanwhile, these people have been voting for and supporting genuine evil over the last number of decades. So I wouldn't be worrying about what they call you. That's just my opinion when it comes to that. The Irish Times, Taoiseach Simon Harris says Conor McGregor represents the very worst of toxic masculinity. You see, these people are not in touch. How could they be in touch when they say something as stupid as that? This is not the country for that type of talk. When someone turns around and says the words toxic masculinity, they should be laughed out of every room, and they are indeed laughed out of every room that they're in. Imagine being told 5, 6, maybe even 10 years ago that someone was going to say the words toxic masculinity, and it was going to come from a pure soy boy, wet wipe, spineless coward like Simon Harris. Simon Harris ran away, as I said earlier on, from the Burkes. He ran away from an elderly gentleman in the father of Enoch Burke. How could you be talking about masculinity at all? I look at Simon Harris, and again, Conor McGregor might not throw the jabs, but I will. I look at him and I think he's very effeminate. And I say to myself, it's very strange that he has a wife there. He's going grey very quickly. He looks decrepit. He's hunched over, the posture of a prawn he has. What's he talking about toxic masculinity? What would he know about it? He's not a guy who would be picking in a five-a-side, let alone get into a ring and take a few slugs. Funny stuff there. Conor McGregor's meeting, this is news talk there. Conor McGregor's meeting with Donald Trump should be called out as an attempt to normalise SA, according to the Dublin Crisis Centre. Now, who funds them? Who runs them? Questions that should be answered. The journal, the urinal.ie. Here we go. Allegedly, speculatively. Opinion. Watching Conor McGregor in the White House was dystopian and disturbing. I hope whoever wrote that article, and I'm not joking you when I say this, I hope you are screaming crying when you're saying this, because guys like me were sitting there going, yes, this is exactly what I wanted to see. I didn't want to see the Snake Martin sitting in the chair and speaking to Donald Trump or to the people and telling lies like he keeps doing. I wanted to see this, which is the truth. And that's all they do, by the way. They all want to attack the guy. They don't want to attack the argument. RTE News. News. The Minister for Finance said his heart fell. This is Pascal Donoghue. His heart fell when he saw Conor McGregor in the Oval Office on St. Patrick's Day. A guy with a lisp. I don't trust any fella with a lisp. I'm going to be just straight up with you when I say that. Anybody with a lisp, if you're out there listening, you're a long time listener of the channel, I don't trust you. But seriously, when it comes to Pascal there, did you know, by the way, when Pascal's talking about heart falling, how about you look into Pascal Donoghue there and have a look at his shares in Diageo, and who owns his shares in Diageo now? Very strange, that one. And Pascal, of course, has no influence on that at all. No. It doesn't have any influence on that at all now. So an article came out years ago, and it said, just to add on to that point there, that Pascal Donoghue transferred his shares to his wife. No, he has nothing. No. There's no insider trading there, nothing there, lads. There's no inside there. They can't be doing. No, there's nothing like that at all. He's not affecting it at all. And the fact that she's his wife, no, that's not affecting it at all. Strange that, Pascal. I'd be shutting up if I was you here. Breaking news.ie says Conor McGregor does not represent the men of Ireland. A government minister has said. Again, this is what they came out with. They decided to attack Conor McGregor rather than attacking the arguments, because guess what? Everything that was said on the podium by Conor McGregor was true. So they couldn't do anything about it. The cynical man in me says that we have seen the name calling, we have seen certain outcomes of things for a very serious reason. And what I mean by that is, these guys and the entirety of Ireland here and the majority of the world have seen what Conor McGregor has tweeted out for a number of years right now, and we have also seen his intention to run in politics and him become more political, and that political talk become more serious. Now, that's the cynical side of me that looks at people in certain places and says to myself, I wonder if they would be up to no good. I think it's ironic that Leo Varadkar was out insulting Conor McGregor when Leo Varadkar was under a criminal investigation. Remember that one? And then remember then as well, after the last St. Patrick's Day, Leo Varadkar obviously got the tip on the shoulder and was told to move on because he came home from America and then I was resigning. Weird, that one, isn't it? We still haven't found out why you resigned or what happened with regards to that. And yet Leo Varadkar's out there trying to be some bastion of morality. This is a guy that was out smooching some other fella, a young fella, when he was out in a nightclub. Not his own fella, a younger guy. And he's telling you about morality. This is a guy in Leo Varadkar, by the way, that had people locked down over the sniffles, over the flu. Took your rights, civil liberties and freedoms away over the sniffles. Shut down businesses. That's another thing that's important to note. Loved ones, you couldn't go to their funerals. 6 people go to a funeral. You had to stand 6 feet away from people. You couldn't go to a gym, a restaurant, a club, a cinema, no nothing. That was Leo Varadkar. And the rest of them that are in the doll, by the way. So, I'm not going to take any sort of moral standpoint from any of these degenerates that are in the doll. Not at all. No way at all. And they have no leg to stand on when they're speaking about Conor McGregor. Especially when, as I said earlier on, I find the whole situation regarding him very dubious. I do, however, find that he is someone that has stood up for Ireland and has been a proud ambassador of Ireland. You think of the amount of achievements that he's had in the MMA game. The first Irish champion, double champion then. There was no welcoming home for him. There was no big hoorah for him, nothing. They all wanted to pretend like he didn't exist. And now that it suits their narrative to try and call him names, because without the name they had nothing. You know what I mean? Without the name they had nothing. And now they're trying to attribute these types of things to him. And I think a lot of people have woken up to the facts that we have seen right now, which are, the guy is telling the truth. Whether you like him, whether you dislike him, whether you are a fan of him or not a fan of him, it's irrelevant right now, because what's happened is he has ruffled all of the right cages. He has ruffled all of the right feathers. This is what has happened. He's rattled these people to no end. And that to me is what we should be looking at and witnessing. They didn't attack the argument, they attacked the guy. He's rattled them. Like, within 15 minutes, these people are all out talking smack. Where have you ever seen that before? That's panic buttons being hit. Because, do you know what else? We not only have this transnational criminal organisation that are bureaucrats that are answering to other people running our country. We also have people that are part of an old system. They came out pre-internet. You look at Micheál Martin, in politics for example, since 1985, doesn't understand the internet at all. What has been the go-to for this current government and past governments? Try and censor you, try and stop the internet. Full totalitarian. Again, reminiscent of what happened a couple of years, yeah? Reminiscent of that there when they shut you into your home there over the sniffles. And now they're trying to do it now with you noticing what's going on around you in the country. That you can see with your own 2 eyes and hear with your 2 ears. They're trying to tell you now, shut up, or we'll put you in jail. hate crime legislation's being pushed forward here in this country. I tell you what, we didn't have hate crime legislation being even a whisper of a thing before all this multiculturalism nonsense that these people are forcing down our throats and forcing into our countries, which is causing all of the crises that we see, or crises I should say, that we are seeing. Health crisis, migrant crime crisis, you've got also then the school crisis. All of these things factor into this. And yet this government are trying to run around going, oh no, don't be listening to him. I tell you what, I'm happy to listen to him, I'm happy to support him, and I tell you what, if he runs for president, I'll vote for him. That's what it is. It's time for change. Now, whether you like it or don't like it, the facts of the matter are this. Conor McGregor is the only person with money, with fame, with connections that has actually bothered, and this is the thing, and I want to make this very clear here. He's the only person who was bothered to speak to his millions of followers, to millions of people around the world about what's going on. That's the only person that we have in this country with that type of reach that has bothered to do that. We haven't seen anybody else. None of them. You name them. Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson, Liam Neeson, whoever it might be, have all decided to duck their heads and say nothing about what's happening here in this country and what's happening to this country and what's happening to the people of this country. But Conor McGregor did, and he's continuing to do so. So I think he deserves an awful lot of credit for that. And, like I said earlier on, they've decided to go after the guy and call him names. Well, I tell you what, I'm not going to be listening to people that decided for the likes of, and decided to vote for the likes of the repeal the 8th, and decided to do all other nonsensical and quite frankly evil things to this country and to its people. I'm not going to be listening to them. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Good luck.